Fiji over Georgia, 45 points to 10. How many of you guys picked that scoreline? It was always going to be the battle of the forwards against the battle of the backs. However, the Fiji forwards certainly fronted up for this one as well, along with some absolutely stellar work from the backs. The Georgians maybe a wee bit suffering on the back of two games in quick succession, but either way, Fiji were just so impressive. It's so disappointing that as much as that Uruguay game was interesting for rugby as a whole, man, if Fiji could be doing games like this more, I think rugby would definitely be better for it. But hey, it was wet early in this one, and you thought maybe this is going to suit Georgia playing a bit of wet weather rugby, keeping things tight. But yeah, they weren't really able to get that much on top. Fiji had a wee bit of ball early. The first scrum was kind of pretty even, and neither side was able to get absolute dominance in that. It was one area you thought maybe the Georgians would push, but maybe they won one or two scrum penalties throughout the whole game, so it definitely wasn't a real weapon for them. Georgia, though, they did have one attacking scrum that worked on 11 minutes, big scrum. They got a penalty, and then 14 minutes, they tried to take a shot at goal from a resulting penalty after that initial scrum penalty. And initially they gave it, but they called it back because somebody eventually spotted that it had actually missed. One look at the kicker's face showed you that he had indeed missed the penalty, so Georgia weren't able to go in front early. 19 minutes, Nayatha he got us underway, or 20 minutes. The first try was from a grubber kick from Ben Volavola, and it looked for all money like it was going to go out. And then somehow, the guy who ended up getting man of the match, Semi Radradra, he managed to got it through a little inside ball to Nayatha who went in for the try, 7-0 to Fiji. Georgia, I think, were a little bit careless, some high tackles, giving away a few too many penalties, like one tackle in the air, just silly, lacking a bit of clinical touch to their play. Careless, as I said, but they were good on defence early, getting a few defensive turnovers, so they were able to kind of, for the most part, contain the Fijians. Although 29 minutes, they weren't able to get a try, but the Fijians were able to really show some great hands in attack. There probably was one forward pass in it, but the Fijians, and they did this multiple times, were kind of one pass away from a potential try. They ended up knocking the ball on. I forget who it was, but yeah, it was exciting stuff in the wet. 30 minutes, Fiji gets a scrum and they win a penalty. They attack and then they knock it on. It's another knock on. 34 minutes, Georgia get a penalty. The TMO checks and that there's no try, because the Georgians really pushed close on the Fijians' line, but they weren't able to get a try, so they took a penalty, and it was 7 points to 3. The commentators on my feed were saying how Tui Silva was lucky not to get a card, although at that moment my little daughter was running around the room, distracting me from the rugby, being all cute and stuff, so I actually missed whatever they were talking about. But you guys let me know, was it a high shot? What exactly did Tui Silva do? Because they didn't really replay it. Halftime is how it finished, 7 points to 3. Which is kind of amazing when you look at this scoreline in the end. But it was pretty tight. Run meters 181 to 222, so Fiji with a bit of an edge. Possession 47-53 to Fiji. Bit of an edge, but nothing huge. Territory was pretty similar. Tackling percentages 81 Georgia, 84 Fiji, so pretty even with Fiji, a little bit of an edge. The number of tackles they made, 48 Georgia, 41 Fiji. So again, Georgia having to do a little bit more work, but nothing really in the game. Penalties conceded was even 6-5, with Georgia having just that one more. So nothing much on the scoreboard in terms of the difference between the teams, and nothing much in all the stats. Second half, though, was a different story. Lomani got to try, and man, he was good this game as well. Again, it was from Randrandra down the left wing. It was started from a Munimuivalu offload, which was a sick bit of skill as well. And then, to Randrandra, Lomani, and then he just managed to get the ball down as he was being tackled. They were trying to hold him up, but he did a good job to get it down. Conversions missed. It's 12-3. 50 minutes. Tui Silva goes down the right wing. Again, guess who? Radradra. He went wide from a line-out move, pretty much ran across the width of the field to run that line in the support play to set it up. 17-3. At that point, it's kind of do or die for Georgia, and they do, which was nice to see, because with Fiji missing the conversions, the lead wasn't that huge. They got a try through the forwards. It was Gogodza, which is nice for him, I guess, in a World Cup, which will be his last World Cup for sure. For him to get a World Cup try. I was actually watching this game with my dad. He was sitting next to me, and he calls him. I have enough trouble with the Georgian names, and even he was like, Gozati, I know that guy. And I was like, man, I may be bad, but I'm still one touch ahead of my dad. Anyway, so at that point at 17-10, it's 17-10, still game on, man. One try, and Georgia are able to level it. But Georgia ain't going to score any more points from here. 56 minutes, the ref gets taken out. It was he got up pretty quick, so kudos to the ref for that. Fiji, again, almost. They had an offload, but knocked it on. I think this time it was Tui Silva. Chances, man, it could have been more points. 60 minutes, 61, Radradra gets the first of his 2 tries, and the commentators also on my feed mentioned if anyone deserves a try, it's that guy. He really cut the Georgian defence to bits. It was from a scrum move. The Fijian scrum was under pressure, but they managed to get the ball out to the backs, and once the backs got some space, it was all over for Georgia. 24 points to 10 at that point. 64 minutes. Fiji. Heaps of space. Lots of pressure. Oh, there was a kick through. That's right. They kicked through. I'm trying to read my notes. They kicked through. Georgian guys chasing back. The Fijian guys are pursuing the Georgian. I think it was the fullback, or it might have been the left winger. They chase him back, put him under pressure, and then they win a penalty at the ruck. And it was just like, when chasing back, the Fijians were able to get 3 guys there to secure the turnover, whereas the Georgians were unable to get more than 2 guys there to defend. So maybe by that point, the Fijian fitness was starting to kind of show itself. Maybe that was the extra rest. Maybe that was just the fitness levels generally. I'm not sure what it was, but either way, they were looking the sharper of the teams, and that's evident on the scoreboard. 68 minutes, Kunatani gets his try after lots of pressure from Fiji, and there's scrum after scrum after scrum. And the Fijian scrum was doing well enough that they could call scrum after scrum after scrum and really put the Georgians under a lot of pressure. The TMO did check that Kunatani one for a knock-on, but no, it was all good. 31 points to 10. Rutuni Yarawa got a try. That was straight from the kickoff. After that, Kunatani try. Counter-attack from the kickoff. Offload, steps, support lines. It was amazing. Lamani was involved as well in that one. 38-10. And then 76 minutes, Radradra gets the last one of the game. Excellent finish from him. The number 8 from Georgia did try and push him into touch, so he did a pretty good attempt at a try-saving tackle, but he wasn't able to stop him, and he is quite the finisher. Converted 45 points to 10. Georgia didn't give up. They kept trying to fight. They went for that consolation try at the end, but weren't able to get it done. So kudos to those guys for keeping on fighting, even in a game which was well lost. But yeah, they'll be pretty disheartened by this performance. Fiji, absolutely amazing stuff. This is the Fijian team that we all know and love. You know, they're so good. I mean, their knock-ons were pretty bad. At halftime, it was 8 Fijian knock-ons to 1 from Georgia. So the scoreline was tight. All the stats were tight, but that one stat was perhaps a wee bit costly for Fiji. I think by the end of the game, it was 13-5, again, with Fiji having more. So Fiji could have scored more if not for some of those errors. The overall stats were run meters 325 to Fiji's 576. So Fiji dominant. They had more possession, more territory, but again, kind of like 45-55, so not a huge amount in it. Tackling percentage is where it really shifted. Do you remember at halftime it was like 81-84 with Fiji having a slight edge? Fiji ended up with 80, and both teams had attempted a similar amount of tackles. Georgia 58%. Now 58% is about as low as it gets. I think Canada against the All Blacks was something like 50-something. So yeah, it was not a good look. Canada against the All Blacks was 69 on my previous page. So yeah, really disappointing, I guess, from that aspect for the Georgians. But I mean, Gorgadza, the number 8, he did all right, 75 run meters for a number 8, 5 defenders beaten. He certainly put his hand up. But then you look, I mean, Lamani was good, like I said, but you look at Randra's stats. 177 run meters. And if you watch that Canada game with the All Blacks, everyone's talking about how Beauden Barrett must have run, a kilometre. He ran in that one like 148 or something. Randra 177 in a game which was supposed to be a lot closer. He had 7 defenders beaten, 5 clean breaks. The guy was everywhere. When he is on form, he is just absolutely world class. Whether he's in the midfield or whether he's on the wing, getting tries or try assists, he does everything. So, not the good game for Georgia, but top stuff from Fiji. Like I said, look out Wales. They won't be looking forward to that one, but whether Fiji can do this 2 games in a row, who knows, but they'll certainly be wanting to go out on a high. But either way, they've certainly done their jersey proud in this one. The Georgians will be pretty disappointed with that result, especially that second half. But yeah, if their backs can, I guess, up their game a wee bit, then Georgia will be a team to be reckoned with as well. Hopefully playing Fiji can give them insights into what they can do. Whether you can actually do it or not is another question. You guys let me know your thoughts on this game. How did you think it went? And yeah, I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.